revenge here, or is it just a case of now we're going to move on and let maybe Fudge, okay, it's actually going to be Fnatic who banned it away, so Oscarinin not comfortable on it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Or they just feel like we want to go Ori or something like that, and they're not willing to trade. So it's interesting, but I'm really thinking, for Fnatic, it's time to mix up in the draft. Maybe a Taliyah first pick, followed up by the Ezreal second, I like how dare you. Dagda is just nodding along. He's like, okay. And then I say Ezreal, he's just, he just
stop taking advantage of his jet lag, Azael. That's not very nice.
The brain eventually caught up.
He's like, wait just 1 second. Something's amiss here.
Well, the Orianna isn't. She's going to be banned away, and we'll see what the first pick is going to be. If we were talking about some of the other series that we've seen, things like the Xayah, certainly pretty high priority, but was kind of ignored in the last game. And there is the Syndra, so Humanoid, going towards the other Orb champion in the mid lane.
Yeah, it did get banned away from EMENES, I believe, in game number 1. So definitely something that can be strong in the early game. I'm really interested to see where Cloud9 do go from here. What is the prio going to be with some of these big picks taken off the table? What kind of a bot lane do Cloud9 want to play? Again, they're not really that style where they want to go hyper aggressive. So I would be more expecting something along the lines of the Xayah for Cloud9 if they're going to go that direction. I think this is going to be EMENES playing the K'Sante, and it's going to be Blaber Taliyah, but there is the possibility of flex. When you think back to their game against Mad, he did so well on the Taliyah in that. Really controlled the pace of the game, kept his farm high, was able to answer plays, was able to create plays of his own. So having a double flex here on 1-2 is always nice on red side because it makes it really difficult to answer for Fnatic because you don't necessarily know where things are going, right? This could be mid or top for K'Sante. This could be mid or jungle for Taliyah.
I am curious though. I was going to say, do they just go for something like the Renekton here though for Oscarinin? You're like, hey, look, even if we go into the K'Sante, we're happy. Then if you decide to go for the Jax, you're happy. So I think you're kind of leaving yourself open here a little bit as Cloud9 to say, hey, we can just take the Renekton now. And hey, look, we've got great setup then for the Taliyah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. And then I think it does relatively okay into the Jax early. I think he can kind of manage, but the Jax does end up, as you say, snowballing later on in the game.
Well, and we might just see a Renekton now for Fudge, right? He could even just take the Renekton into the Jax if he wants. I know a lot of people online are not fans of that. A lot of pros are. They do feel that it's favored towards the Renekton, especially early. You can get that pressure rolling. It is going to be the Jarvan, though, as the pick here for Razork. So taking it away, Blaber obviously played it last game. Already you have a Taliyah. You have an easy, squishy target here who doesn't have a dash to be able to actually focus in some of these fights. And if you're thinking about some of the other options for Berserker, some of the best teamfight champions, Jarvan's also quite good against those. Sure, yes, Xayah can ult out of that Jarvan ultimate, but it's not like a guaranteed easy thing to do. And it does require that ultimate cooldown.
And I really like this from C9. Keep that flex alive, right? You might be a bit scared that the Renekton could be theoretically banned away to protect against the potential flexibility of EMENES taking the K'Sante like he already has this tournament. But making sure that you're keeping Fnatic on their toes with those picks is going to be important. And there is the Aphelios ban. Aphelios Zeri could just be coming through here to really target Noah.
Yeah, I think they just want him on the Ezreal again. Yes, they did get towards the late game, but that was mostly, it felt like, on the back of some misplays from C9 and some great plays from Humanoid. Noah, again, to me, felt fairly absent in that game. I can't really think of anything that he did that stood out. And it's one of those things where I think C9 really want him in that type of matchup. Xayah is also that kind of old school answer towards the Ezreal, so if you can push him into that preferential matchup, especially if supports are roaming, Berserker's going to be really happy in that 1v1 to be farming it up, to be getting ready for those team fights.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what they exactly want to go for. I think, as you say, I think it will end up being the Ezreal that they try to shove him onto. I'm trying to pinch my way through the AD carry list here just to see what even he could potentially
We've seen
play.
Zeri, we've seen Xayah, we've seen Varus, we've seen Lucian, we've seen a lot.
Yeah, Sivir is I was going to say Sivir was the kind of one I was keeping my eye on, where maybe you've got a little bit of an opportunity to try and get away from some of the punishment that C9 has available for you, but that's actually going to be taken away. So now it is going to be a question of what Noah wants to try and go towards. I think on the opposite side, keep going for these support bans.
I mean, he could go Zeri. That was banned away last game from him. Obviously, I think that was more of because they were playing with that Jarvan plus the Rumble combo, so they wanted to be able to deny that Zeri from him. But I'll be interested to see where Cloud9 go, because they're going to start revealing where the flexes are. This, again, is a potential, double flex here if they do lock this in, but it does give them some good hard engage. It could be a Blaber pick, could be a Zven pick. I'm still operating under the assumption, though, just to be quite honest, that it's Blaber for Taliyah, it's K'Sante for EMENES, and it would be this Rel for Zven.
I'm curious if they want to give the Rakan across, though. I think you end up in a position where that's still a very high Octane option for Fnatic, where they can try and play through that, try and move Trymbi around a little bit more. Although in the last game, it was definitely Zven who was beating Trymbi to the punch in a lot of those. So if we end up seeing this Ezreal, then Trymbi combo again, I want to see Trymbi out on the map quickly.
I will say, though, if you go Ezreal and you go Rakan, then your lane is so weak. So maybe Cloud9 are kind of okay with that. Zeri, again, was banned out in that first game. There is quite a bit of CC that he has to deal with over on this Cloud9 side already, between the K'Sante, the rocks that you have to deal with, as well as this aggressive Rel that could be the engage. But I'm interested to see what the final pick here is going to be for Cloud9.
Yeah, they are so flexible. They can pick a whole lot of different things. If they don't like the Zeri Blitzcrank lane, if this is what Trymbi is going to lock away, then they can take something else instead. Just going to go back to the tried and true. As Trymbi...
They have incredible engage.
Yeah, they certainly do. And he had some good moments in the last game as well. It was part of the reason why they clung on to the game for so long. And now C9, they are going to have to let us know exactly how this one is going to be arranged.
And I will say, Cloud9 is very low range on their side for now. And I think it's really scary for Berserker. You know, it's difficult to actually get involved when there's a Jax, when there's the Rakan CC, when there's the Flag and Drag, the knock-up, there's, you know, the unleashed power from the Syndra as you go forward. It is going to end up being the Renekton that I talked about way earlier. So roles will kind of be what I expected. This is going to be a pretty beefy front line here for Cloud9. Rel, K'Sante, and Renekton all there in front of it. And it's a lot of CC to help apply that plasma. So this does feel like Berserker and Blaber versus the world. You know, they have got to have good games. They have got to be farming at a good clip here if we're going to see Cloud9 succeed.
I think you kind of missed out on a really good Poppy angle, though, for Cloud9. If you end up playing into those flexes, like you send the Rel bot, you send the Talia mid, and then you end up having the Rel or the Poppy in the jungle, I think you could have set yourself up fantastically, because so
Poppy
much of Fnatic
great, I agree.
Is so short range. So we'll have to see if you can get the value out of this Renekton in the early stages, like play with Blaber towards that top side, try and get Blaber snowballing, because if you don't, you're missing out on a ton of damage from your Talia, and then you're heavily reliant on Berserker getting that win in the bot lane.
It is really interesting, though, right? Because, you know, I agree with you. I think it would have been an amazing pick. But we heard Fudge, you know, he had an interview with Lore. She was asking him, you know, what do you think about the top lane meta? And in his mind, the top lane meta is basically you have to pick these champions that can fight at Herald, right? And Poppy maybe at the early Herald fight, maybe he's not seeing it as something that is as strong. That's why we're seeing so much Rumble, Aatrox, Jax, you know, Renekton as well. So obviously going towards that.
Yeah, and you also play for the 2v2 top side extraordinarily well with Renekton Talia. You've spoken about it already, but C9 did a great job up there in game number 1, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like, try to attack the lane that you've found some weakness in, right?
Absolutely, and when you're looking across the map, there is setup potentially here for Blaber across all 3 lanes. There's the point-and-click CC in top lane, there's that CC in mid and in bot.
Exactly right. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump onto the Rift here for game number 2. Just a reminder, this is our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. The entirety of Fnatic taking on the entirety of C9. So many phenomenal moments between these two teams over the years, and we're here to celebrate another one. Let's see exactly how it is going to go, because if we get a Fnatic victory, then we just get another game in what is a very historical matchup.
It's actually sick to see that, like, because I look back at the how many times both these teams have faced off. If you include, like, every tournament ever, like right the way back to IEMs, all the All-Stars, everything like that in between, both squads are 11-11. Like, this is actually the one that breaks the camel's back. So this is both an historic matchup, but also an incredibly close matchup that is definitely leading Cloud9 after that last game.
Well, yeah, I mean, the early game was like, okay. The late game was,
No. We don't think about those. We don't think about those as just like make sure that you've only got the first 20 minutes like glued into your mind, and you're going to be feeling confident. You're going to be feeling happy about it.
I live in a constant state of denial here as soon as I get to international events, so I can work with this.
And I walked past Betty as we were coming back up to the caster desk, and he was like, Rob, just make Fnatic be better. So we banned Rumble, so already we're off to a good start. So maybe this will give a bit more of an opportunity for Oscarinin to survive the laning phase.
And you're not on Ezreal, which I think you fans will count as
that
one
one
guy.
That one guy in the audience.
It's actually 1-1 now.
Yeah.
You know, that's a dub for Fnatic.
Well, already you can see Fudge just wanting to get towards level 3 and then start bullying on this Renekton. I was pretty impressed by Fudge's Renekton in the playoffs, despite how things went in the end.
Yeah, I think that Fudge has been really solid this year, just early too, but it's going to be a trade back potentially. Just not as dominant, you know, because Fudge, prior to the mid lane swap where he kind of moved around back and forth positions, he was playing at his top level as clearly the best LCS top laner, but Noah?
Yeah, that's a crash down. Not going to find too much more than the air as the Ignite is going to be thrown through. I wish Masteries were still there. He would have had the extra AP and AD, but not anymore.
Yeah, just for the Nimbus Cloak to just retreat out of that. You know, had he actually gotten the crash down, he maybe could have forced a cleanse or something like that. But as soon as you miss, you are going to take a pretty bad trade on the way out. So I do like the early Ignite, just to make sure that it's not going to go too bad. You're not going to lose too much health and put yourself in a terrible spot.
Also the mental game, the warning Ignite.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what it could have been, buddy. You better back up. Buddy.
I can light you on fire at a moment's notice once the cooldown is back up. Yeah, I do like that.
But I think, yeah, coming into this, I want to see a little bit more opportunity here for Razork to try and play around Humanoid. One of the big things we were talking about in the last one was Lee Sin Ori, not a great combo. Jarvan Syndra, that is terrifying, even up against the Cassandra.
Yeah, he's on vision. Crashdown is going to be interrupted there by the Grand Entrance, but still, Trymbi taking a lot of damage. Berserker turning on him immediately. Nicely done.
Yeah, Trymbi stayed in a little bit too long. You know, normally on those trades in Rakan, you want to go in and you want to be able to jump back out when you're at 4 plasma, but he actually let that final plasma stack go off. Razork here lying in wait, but we'll see. They're going to move. Humanoid's coming. It's going to be a fight potentially.
Possible 3v2, but no, it's going to be a 3v3. There's the Counter-Strike. Scatter the Weak is incredible by Humanoid, but he's not quite able to finish them off. Razork in so much trouble as Fudge is looking for the kill back, but already EMENES has fallen down. Culver Meat comes through. Blaber doesn't manage to find the flick, and C9, they can't get a kill back.
We're alive! Fnatic managing to get a kill off the back of that. The roam comes through early for EMENES, but that flag and drag from Razork was sick to follow up on that.
Yeah, great follow-up. You know, he goes in. There's a flash scatter from Humanoid as well. Just going heavily for that play, and Fudge can't quite finish him off. It looked like it was maybe a Triumph Field or something did come through from Razork, and they couldn't actually finish it off. So, you know, it is this initial play where Blaber's trying to play the mind game, wait for that flip, couldn't actually get it. The double stun comes through. There's the flag and drag across 3. The flash in from Humanoid was key as well. Really nicely played there from Fnatic, but still was so close. It's really just that Triumph Field that keeps Razork alive.
Just about able to stay alive in that one. So Fnatic managing to step away. Don't get the crab in the end, but at least it is a big win for Fnatic, especially with that kill going across to Oscarinin. That's going to accelerate that matchup. He's got the Sheen now. These trades become far easier for Oscarinin to try and play through.
Shu is now on the other foot. Bit of an early game advantage here for Fnatic. We'll see how they can play through it as the game continues. C9 still pushing pretty aggressively here towards this bottom side, and that is still going to be their avenue of victory. You know, Berserker is the guy that just has win condition written off across his forehead. See whether it is going to work out, because of course Zeri is, you know, one of those champions that does relatively well towards the later stages of the game. Humanoid just playing with EMENES here in this mid lane, as you would expect at the early stages of this matchup.
I do think my eyes are still focused on this 3v3 topside, though. Literally every flash in existence burnt up there, and it's like, hey, you've still got Razork up there, you still got a strong mid jungle you try and play through. Even the opportunity if like Fudge mismanages his wave and it starts to push out, Razork can try and get up into that position. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for Fnatic. So I'm looking to see how Blaber can try and get in and disrupt that, try and get some vision down so he can spot plays like this from Razork.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that we talked about, and he's going to reveal himself there with the vision plant. So Blaber moving in towards mid. They're going to look for a dive.
Yeah, they're going to pull him out with the all-out. Humanoid taking so much damage, and that's just a solo kill. Blaber was there as a cheerleader.
It's clean from EMENES, punishing the flash. I talked about it last game, how Cloud9 was so good at punishing missing flashes here. EMENES says, I get the level advantage. I have the push. The HP doesn't matter because I'm going to all out and take you away from your tower. The 1v1 solo kill and a 17 CS lead as Cassante into this range matchup early.
And also pulling Razork from that top side as well means that they're not going to make the dive play because they don't have the members that they need. And now C9 get to fall down, get an early dragon, and still be able to contest this Rift Herald. That's a big swing for Cloud9.
Oh, Razork is going to be spotted here. EMENES going to push him away from this pit. I think he should be all right. EMENES doesn't exactly have the largest health bar to deal with, as now he's going to get taken down. Noah grabs that kill. It's a 1-for-1 trade, though, in the end, as that flash was interesting, but it is not going to lead to a kill or anything like that. Sven, you're fine. And Fnatic just going to try and lick their wounds.
Yeah, Cloud9 going to be feeling pretty happy about it at the end of the day. It is a trade back, but they got the dragon on top. This is just great from EMENES. He has the XP advantage, gets the push, W buffer into the ulti, over the wall. Everything hitting here. Just beautifully done from EMENES, and Blaber was there to cover. And yes, they are able to eventually take down EMENES as the Fnatic bot lane was moving up. Humanoid had arrived as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look, at this stage, you think maybe you can get in there as Trymbi, get the knock-up before the crash down comes through from Sven, but Sven gets it down, and even the flash away from the Scout of the Week as well is crucial there to make sure that he's able to escape.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. You know, he would have probably got CC'd up and potentially died because he was dismounted. He wasn't going to have that remount for a while, so you are fairly slow on that. But the gold right back to even. Cloud9, though, with the early objective advantage, and we'll see if they can do anything with that. Now, bot lane, again, fairly quiet. It is a slight edge, though, for Noah this time around. So C9, you're not having as much freedom, I would say, in the 2v2 as they did last time.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's going to start playing a factor as you start to look towards Rift Herald, and even looking at this mid lane as well. Level 6 hit.
Ooh, nice fancy feat here from EMENES, but is he going to be able to get out of this? Absolutely, the answer is yes. Blaber throwing down some rocks. He's going to find too much more. The flick going to go wide there as well.
Yeah, I think he was looking for the Q3 from EMENES into the flick. They were trying to combo that together, but they saw Trymbi coming, and then they started to back off because Fnatic was going to have the extra man.
The thing is that with Trymbi showing on mid lane, he's actually going to fall behind him when it comes to the experience of Zven. So as Zven now starts to rotate up towards mid lane, he'll hit level 6 first. You can start to play for Rift Herald off that timing window. So Cloud9 again exploiting these little small moments from Fnatic to get these advantages.
All right, here towards the top side, Fudge still having some push advantage, of course. Renekton in this matchup. This is the time where he's feeling good. This is his moment. Of course, very early game, not quite there, but late game is going to be where Oscarinin is going to be feeling a whole lot better. So just going to have to bide his time. Wasn't as good at that in the first game, but it looks like he's learning from it right now.
Well, this is exactly what Cloud9 are looking for. They're going to go for a wraparound. They know that Counter-Strike's down for a little bit on Oscar, and now they're going to go for a 4-man dive.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall does come on through there. The Counter-Strike now on cooldown. The Magnus Storm comes in, doesn't get a whole lot of value, but I think they've got enough men up here, and they are going to be able to grab the kill. Underneath the turret, Razork coming on in here, but that is not something you can defend.
Yeah, I mean, if he tries to ult into that, maybe you kill Zven, but then you just die, so not worth it. It does mean, though, that Cloud9 had to pull off of the Herald, and now they're going to try to get a counterplay down on bot side. Berserker needs to leave because Humanoid is coming, and I'm not sure Berserker realizes it. Time to give up this farm. Yeah, okay, there he goes.
Also, play defensively, you like to see.
For Cloud9, they actually didn't get an opportunity to take the Rift Herald off the back of it because they pulled off and invested so much low health bars. So now Fnatic are actually going to be the ones back on the map to try and go for it. So at least Fnatic do get something, but this is nicely done by Cloud9. Oscarinin knows that he's not going to be able to get away the second he sees Zven on that ward, so ends up kind of taking his pick of the litter. I think he shouldn't probably burnt the flash, kind of just accepted his fate there a little bit, but now we got the contest.
Yep.
It is a bit of a 1v1 for the Shellfish. As the flick is not
Fnatic's
going to
faster,
land.
though.
Yeah,
Blaber has to flash.
Does just have to flash. Has to get out of there. And that is going to be a lot invested for nothing gained. Trymbi clearing out vision here as well. Fnatic, it feels like they're revitalized moving into this one.
They're looking a lot better in this second game. It's 2 plates taken on bot side. Yes, you get that dive on top side, but it meant that Cloud9 didn't get the Herald. You know, so there is Fnatic, you know, fighting back much more heavily. And yes, Oscar still, honestly, even with that first blood, not doing that great in the 1v1. He is down that 50 CS because of that dive. You know, they were kind of able to get Fudge back into a better spot. But he's still in a massively better position than he was last game, and he's going to scale really well into the side lane, where Fudge is going to have a lot of trouble.
I do think the next passage of play, though, is probably going to define a lot of this game, which is going to be the Dragon. You've got Rift Herald now up and available for Fnatic. They can try and play off of mid lane, where they can use the Herald, then start to lean in towards Dragon. They're already trying to set up vision in this bottom quadrant as Cloud9 to try and deny a lot of that, so I think Cloud9 going to look to see if they can try and fight this off of what will be their initial mythics coming through, but it's still going to be very, very tough with how much control Fnatic can have with Trymbi, Razork, and even a Humanoid Scout of the Week.
Absolutely. It's also, I've got to say, you know, when I'm taking early Dragons, I feel pretty bad when I see Hextech into Infernal combo, because those are the souls that I'm usually hoping for, right? You know, I do think that there's still some other great ones to get. You know, if I'm not going to get those, I probably want Mountain against what Fnatic has, because they have a lot of upfront burst, especially, you know, with the Syndra and these engage combos that are going to come through. So Mountain could potentially help you survive that, as they're going to look for EMENES.
Yeah, he's going to get knocked up. There's the CC combo. He's not going to die, but he will take a fair bit of his health bar in damage. Ulti held onto here by Humanoid.
And that's the nice thing about First Strike in these matchups. You know, when you're playing up against a tank here like Asante, you're just farming gold off the guy, right? He has the early Leandries. He's getting that gold acceleration. Blaber here looking for a potential anchor for the ulti to try to cut off Humanoid. There it is.
Yeah, it is going to come on through here. Trymbi finds the grand entrance onto Zven, just trying to keep him in position. Razork over the wall. There is the Magnus Storm, but doesn't get a lot of value. The flick does come back from Blaber, but Sven's already dead. The all-out comes on through, and Razork's just out of there. Fnatic, they've just turned it around here in this early game this time.
I mean, Trymbi tanking up the turret as Razork gets pulled underneath. It means that Razork doesn't actually take the terror shots. He's able to flag and drag, and now Fnatic turn over towards the Dragon. Big, big play for Fnatic.
Yeah, really close fight, though. You know, both Razork and Trymbi getting out with really low HP. Cloud9 just can't finish off those kills, which really hurts because it means they lose the fight, they lose the objective after, and Fnatic in a much better position. Humanoid was trying to hold on to this flash as long as he possibly could because Trymbi's just playing bodyguard. He's trying to delay Zven, but when Zven eventually does get in range there, he knows he has to flash back. But it does mean there's the immediate turnaround. Zven flashes out, but the ulti is there to finish, and then in comes EMENES with the ulti pulling Razork back, but the Flagging Drag is back off cooldown. Trymbi barely survives, Razork barely survives, and Fnatic get the Dragon. A huge win.
And it's so frustrating as well for C9 because the more you just barely miss out on these kills, the less of those opportunities that you have because you miss out on all of the extra gold, and that snowballs on top of itself, and then you get a difficult situation.
Well, and here's one thing I will say that does make it more difficult against this sort of comp as Trymbi.
Trymbi going to be interrupted there. He's burning, and that is going to be Blaber picking that one up. So yeah, wasted flash.
That was such a late flash and going to be going down anyway. But one of the things that makes this difficult is that there's not that much damage, in that kind of core 3 without Berserker. And if Berserker's not going to be joining the fights, well, they are low on damage. And now TP coming in to answer. Nice little bit of pressure there from Cloud9. They don't commit. They just back off as soon as the TP comes through.
Razork's here, though.
Oh, a little bit of trouble. Sven's going to be interrupted. Can't Hex Flash that one. That's another kill for Noah EMENES. He has to flash over the wall. He will do so. That'll keep him alive. But that is more money for the Zeri, and we all know what that can lead to.
And this is the champion that Noah's felt confident on all year. When you think of Noah, it was the Aphelios when he first joined the league, but also this Zeri that he's looked fantastic on. Now, having that early 2 kills and getting a bit of control in this bot lane is going to be huge for the Fnatic AD carry.
I mean, it's massive for him, right? And he was kind of gifted those 2 kills. He's just been chilling bot lane, farming, able to kind of have the action come to him. Fudge in some trouble here.
Yeah, the counter-strike going to come through. Blaber is here just a little bit late, and that is going to be the solo kill. Some revenge here for Oscar as some rocks are flying his way. We'll see whether he's going to survive. They are put on the ground. There's a flash to follow. The threaded volley. He has the last one, and that is going to be the answering kill.
Nice job there by Blaber getting one back. Fudge really overplayed his hand. I think he was trying to look for a bit of a bait play there, but he underestimated the damage from Oscar. He gives over a freebie, and now Oscar in this champion that outscales in a really good spot, and you can see in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot that it's only Blaber with that gold advantage right now.
Well, EMENES is looking to try and grab one for himself. Humanoid taking a bit of damage as the teleport is coming forward. Wasn't really necessary, but sometimes you want to drive home that you can get the kill.
I love how EMENES needs spectators whenever he gets a solo kill. It's like, come on, just see what I can do. But on top side as well.
Oh, the interruption does come through here as Blaber's going to get ulted. Okay, can the fancy feet actually work out here is the question. The answer is no, but it looked kind of cool for a few moments. That's going to be the kill in answer there from Razork.
It is a shutdown, but it does cost him a couple ults, and Blaber did actually secure the top lane tower. So Blaber is super rich right now. He already has his Rylai's done, so that's 2 items done before either the mid laner is even close to actually completing that. So Blaber is going to be the big carry here, the big hope for Cloud9. And EMENES trying to defend the red buff because you can see the Cloud9 bot laner coming out from base. They want to be here to support, and off of that bot lane kill, Fudge just stayed bot to push the bot lane tier 1, and it was EMENES who backed.
And this is where flashes become so important for Cloud9, because if Fudge has flash to CC Humanoid, to CC Noah in a fight, even if you look at EMENES, actually, Fudge may need to get on out of there.
He's all right.
I think that's where you're going to be able to set up for Blaber, right? And I think that's the big point to focus on is, can these big mega tanks in the front line get onto the back line and set up for Blaber to be that card?
Absolutely. And when Berserker joins, how effective is he going to be? Because Noah got these 2 kills. Noah's been accelerated. Him and Berserker have kind of been doing the same thing, just hanging out and farming, but some action came towards Noah. He was able to capitalize on it with those good collapses from Fnatic and got that gold injection. So he's not fighting from that big point of power that he was last game, Berserker, where he had that big gold lead.
Well, Fnatic a little bit late to this play as the second Rift Herald is going to be secured by C9. The game extraordinarily even. It is just the 1 extra turret, but the extra money that Fnatic have been able to pick up has certainly worked out for them.
And I've got to say, win or lose, the narratives around Blaber internationally need to die. This guy has really shown up at Worlds. I think he has played incredibly well for Cloud9, and he's well on his way to being, in my opinion, the best NA player ever. I think if he continues on this trajectory, that is going to be where we end up. He has been really stalwart for Cloud9, turning in another great performance last game, another great performance this game, was great against Mad, was competitive against LNG. This guy is a far cry away from that jungler where people would call him, oh, he's a coin flip jungler, he's going for the crabs, these kind of memes. He is so efficient, and he always keeps his farm really high while still having really high kill participation, which to me is just kind of like the mark of a really good jungler.
And also now he's got so much on his shoulders, right? He's playing the Talir, and Zven is now looking to try and help get the kill onto Oscarinin. EMENES up here is relatively low, but the Magnet Storm's going to come through, and EMENES will cut down the Jax. That is going to be another kill going over to C9, trying to skew that one in their favor. They do manage to do so, as you were talking about souls that weren't necessarily the best. We do have one of those on the rift, but Fnatic is going to collect it for themselves. 2-1 Drake advantage for them will be the result in trade for their top laner.
And I think that's what I like the call here from Cloud9. It's like, hey, do we really care about a second Chemtech Dragon going over? Not really. We have Rift Herald. Let's get the play on top side. Immediately use Rift Herald to blow open that second tower as well. And
yeah, that is going to be the charm landing onto Fudge. CC'd and dead. That is, a handbag.
That's just greed, man. You know, he really wants to try to get that away. You know they're on the dragon. You see the dragon death call, and you're still not only staying to actually get the kill, but you're using your slice and dice to actually help to secure it. So there's no really anywhere for him to go. Cloud9 do get a tier 2 on the other side of the map, but Fnatic get the kill there. They get the dragon. They take the mid tier 1, and that's really kind of just off of a silly play from Fudge. He should have been there to potentially defend.
And again, you wouldn't have had that opportunity if you hadn't gone down. So now Fnatic, they'll have the chance to start pushing in mid, especially with the range advantage they have, and then start to lean in towards vision. And I mean, Oscarinin trying to punish on this topside play, but Zven's in the area.
I mean, Oscar, I think, played it out pretty well. And this is why, you know, some people may be saying, oh, Zven using his ulti, haha. He's actually waiting, because if you wait too long, Oscar's going to have Counter-Strike back, and then there's a potential for him to kill EMENES, right? So I think you actually had to commit all the cooldowns to make sure you get this kill. Fudge warded out, obviously did not know it, but the dragon is dead. You know they're in the area. You know they're going to be potentially looking over there. And it's just some greed there from Fudge. Wanted to get it, now going to be potentially dove here by Oscar.
Yep, there is the Counter-Strike. That is going to get the stun. Great knock up there from Razork, as well as the Scat of the Week is going to come in. Fudge keeping himself alive for so long, though. He does get stabbed in the end by a Q from the Jarvan, but have they overextended is the question.
Berserker!
Storm, as Berserker just dives in on top of Noah. He's out of the fight, but so is Blaber, who's been executed between his turrets. Fnatic now on the warpath, looking for EMENES, who is running the wrong direction, and Noah is looking to try and come back and answer it. He is going to get engaged on, as EMENES is trying to do some fancy stuff to get himself out of this, but it's not going to work, as Syndra says no, and Fnatic, they just win the fight. They grab 3 kills. Berserker is going to try and get this turret in answer.
EMENES had nowhere to go. His tower is being knocked down by Oscarinin as he's running for the hills, and Fnatic pick up 4 off the back of that play, and that was perfectly timed off of getting mid lane tower, dive into that top side with the vision you have, and there's nothing Fudge can do.
Yeah, I mean, Fudge, I think, played it about as well as he could. He lived for a really long time here. I started to get a bit nervous for Fnatic on the dive. The ulti comes up, and you think, okay, surely he's dead. But then, Gore Drinker heal, Q heal, surviving for quite some time. Blaber does arrive, and on the other side, we saw that it was Berserker diving in. Blaber flashing back, though, and Humanoid catches him with the scatter after, bursts him down, and then all of a sudden, because Zven and Berserker were going for Noah, they left the other members on their team kind of by themselves. They overcommitted to trying to kill off Noah. They couldn't even do it. You know, they forced out that E over the wall from Noah, but I want to see what happened with the ulti from Berserker, because Noah didn't even have to flash, and when we panned down, Noah was really far away. So what I think might have happened is that Berserker ulted while he was mid-slide across the wall, and then he got too far away from the other side, so probably a little bit too early of an ult from Berserker, but maybe worried about losing vision. Either way, had you just forced Noah out and then used that ulti to rejoin the fight on top side and Zven collapses up there, this could have been a very different story for Cloud9. So great punish, great aggressive play from Fnatic, but definitely I think a bit of a drop ball there from the C9 bot lane.
Well, Scat of the Week going to come through. Humanoid has just been fantastic. I mean, this whole series, to be honest, he was the ray of hope for Fnatic in game number 1, and is now just landing all of these scatters. Another one going to be missed there, but of course, EMENES has to dodge to get himself out of the way.
And the other thing worth mentioning is this is not the old Syndra, right? Syndra scales up, you farm those splinters, you get to 100, you really do have a powerful late game here. The lone kind of weakness is your lack of mobility, so it's going to be up to Cloud9 to try to pile in on top of them and punish that.
And that's why I like the Cosmic Drive second here. I mean, you hit 3 of your spells, you're going to get that movement speed, gives you the opportunity to try and run yourself out of Blabbers, knockups, try and get away from Fudge. It actually gives you a huge amount of opportunities to try and avoid what Cloud9 want to do, and as long as you do that, I mean, Oscarinin down in this side lane, he's an absolute monster. 2 items compared to the 1 of Fudge. He'll start to work his way through these towers, and Fnatic, having that mid lane tower down, are now looking to maybe punish Fudge again.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a really good job of just pressuring him off of this, as Trymbi...
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of options. Has to use the quickness for the extra movement speed to get himself out of the way. So that is a decent cooldown that C9 have picked up, but they lose their inner turret, and that is more money going to Fnatic.
They're maybe starting Baron. They're actually pinging towards it. They're just going to start this up. They know that Fnatic was fully on bot side. I don't know that they can kill this fast enough, though. I don't think this is going to work. There's no one even tanking it for Blaber right now.
And double TP is going to be available. There is no vision. As I think this might just be a Hail Mary. Let's see what can happen. Is the turn going to come through from C9? And instead, they're just going to get themselves out of here if they can. Zven trying to do what he can to keep them away as he dives in. There's the Magnus Storm, but where's the follow-up? The rest of C9 looking to move on over, and that is the Baron secured by Fnatic. Thanks for the leash, I guess, as Noah is looking for even more. Blaber's going to go down. EMENES might be able to get one, but the answer is no, because there's a Mega Blast Cone down there to keep the Jax alive, and now it is a disaster for C9. The Crocodile goes down once again, and Razork just needs one Q or a smite to take down the kill onto Berserker. That went from bad to real bad real fast.
This worked for Cloud9 against Mad Lions, and they were like, hang on, maybe we can pull it again against the EU team, but it's not the case. Fnatic come into the area quick, and they punish C9 fast.
Yeah, I thought that C9 was just going to try to get a Fnatic TP and then just back off, right? I thought that's all they were going to be looking for, but they tried to actually set this up. Zven goes in for the re-engage, but the Baron has just been leashed for Fnatic. Zven, sure, it's a multi-man engage, but no one's there to follow up. Blaber and Berserker are not in range whatsoever. They try to file in here to get there, and they just get hard engaged on. So this is an absolute disaster from Cloud9. I didn't feel like the game was in that desperate of a spot, and now Blaber's just going to get one shot.
That's there's a lot of power to unleash there, and you saw Blaber wasn't able to handle it, and it's just going to be a quick pick-off there for Humanoid, who is just running away with this game.
It's donezo. I mean, you're so strong here as Humanoid. 7 kills now, 10 stacks on the Dark Seal. And again, you don't really have the opportunity to try and play outside lanes, or as Cloud9 try and have like some big wombo combo to bring you back into this, right? You were reliant on Blaber being that damage dealer, having the setup from Cloud9. But with Fnatic having control of the map, finding those moments is so difficult, especially when you're going to start seeing Fnatic taking over now.
And I guess that was Cloud9's read, right? Because they couldn't have thought that that was like a smart play to make, right? I do think that their read must have been, we are just going to lose this game slowly through side lanes. We can't actually do anything about this Jax. Time to flip it. And if their read is the game's over, then sure, but...
Whoa, they're diving in. Berserker is in a whole host of trouble, but he ults to get himself out of the way, and Razork is just going to die. C9 just pick up the kill. A little bit overly aggressive there in the enemy base.
I mean, a mistake there from Razork and Trymbi, but actually might cost them more here.
Oh, the flank angle here from EMENES as well, as Humanoid is going to get picked out of position. The all-out comes through. The flick will be available, and there's some revenge for Blaber. C9 grabbing 2 picks back-to-back, and they might be back in some form of control.
Both shutdowns there. I'm not going to say control. They're still down 6K. The Baron's still on 3.
That's why I went with the some form of.
Some form.
You know, there's a little bit
of control. A form of
control
where you have no control.
Yeah, the control where you have 5 people, they have 3 for the next little while.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, it happened in the last game where Fnatic got 1 or 2. It kind of started to come back, but
here's the thing. I think that the compositions are so different, right? I believed in the Orianna more because Humanoid was playing so well, and he was on a pick that I think A, had great wave clear, and B, had really huge team fight impact. I'm just struggling to see who is it going to be that can kind of get this across the finish line. It would have to be a comedy of errors from Fnatic, because really, as I said, if Kai'Sa's not playing from ahead, it's difficult to ever even enter the fights.
And this is why I want to go back to your point about the Baron, because I actually do think for Cloud9, if you actually had Fnatic full resetting like we saw against Mad Lions, where Mad Lions got Dragon, reset, and Cloud9 suddenly get Baron, suddenly turn the game around, that could have been their moment. So I actually like the Baron call from Cloud9. As you say, I think it's a case of, at this stage, even with picks like this, I don't really see a way for Cloud9 to try and bring themselves back into this game.
Yeah, it's really, really tough, right? So, you know, you always have to keep in mind what the player's evaluation is in the game state, and if you think the game's already lost, then any play with some small chance is going to be better than doing that. And I mean, look at the total damage done here. It has just been Humanoid just poking away at EMENES all lane long, farming so much gold with the first strike, and he's in a great spot. And C9 got nothing to do but look for plays. We'll see if they can find one here.
Yeah, Oscarinin is going to use that counter-strike, try and keep himself up, is able to leap strike towards the ward to get out of the flick, and he'll be A-OK. Oh, Jax things. Absolutely fantastic. He's going to be fine. And Fnatic now look to move into the enemy jungle here towards his top side. 4-man strong, as Razork is going to pull himself over to his flag. Now look to open up the base of C9. They're fresh off a bit of a back here, though, so they might be able to get it. Yeah, exactly right. Teleport to come through from Fudge. Here's the last-ditch effort as they dive in. Magnus Storm is decent. They know exactly who their target is. Flash now down onto Humanoid, but Noah is the one popping off. They managed to get the Syndra, but can they actually win the fight is the question. Trymbi going to try to get locked down, but it's Noah that's the one that needs to be under control, and it's not going to happen. Fnatic just roll over the top. It's a double kill for Razork in the end, and Fnatic are done with this game, I think. I think they're going to look to end it here.
There's low health bars, but big smiles for Fnatic as they'll take down the inhibitor and take us to the game 3.
And Fnatic had so much extra control early. They are going to be able to take these Nexus turrets down and with momentum move towards the game number 3. For C9 fans, though, they can move back towards that blue side in this deciding game, but I think they're going to have to try and figure out a better plan of attack if Fnatic can fix their early game like they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Fnatic with a great strike back in that second game. It felt like, to me, the lone hope in this one was really Blaber. He was having a great early game, got a lot of gold, but was really struggling when Humanoid got ahead. The 2 carries from Cloud9, if you ever get on the same screen, and he's just going to delete you.
And I think that was the big problem, was that you didn't really have that chance. But we get a chance to hear from the desk and what they thought of that game.